Jacobin. Politics. Jacobin, French pronunciation Jacobin, is someone who supports a centralized republic, with power made at the national level in contemporary usage. At its inception during the French Revolution from 1789 to 1799, the term was popularly applied to all supporters of left-wing revolutionary opinions. Specifically, it was used to describe members of the Jacobin Club, a revolutionary political movement that had been the most famous political club of the French Revolution. The club was so called from the Dominican convent which they originally met in the Rue Saint-Jacques, or Latin Jacobus, in Paris. The Jacobin Club was one of several organizations which grew out of the French Revolution. It was distinguished for its left-wing revolutionary politics. Don't forget that it was the French who gave us the Statue of Liberty, right? Because of this, the Jacobins, unlike the other sects like the Girondins, were closely allied with Sans-Culottes, who were a popular force of working-class Parisians that played a pivotal role in the development of the Revolution. They had a significant presence in the National Convention and were dubbed the Mountain for their seats in the uttermost part of the chamber. Eventually, the Revolution coalesced around the Mountain's power with the help of the insurrections of the Sans-Culottes, and led by Robespierre. The Jacobins established a revolutionary dictatorship, or a joint domination of the Committee of Public Safety and Committee of General Security. The Jacobin dictatorship was known for enacting the Reign of Terror, which targeted speculators, monarchists, left-wing agitators, Herbertists, and traitors, and led to many beheadings. The Jacobins were known for creating a strong government that could deal with the needs of war, economic chaos, and internal rebellion, such as the War of Vendée. Jacobins supported the rights of property, but represented a much more middle-class position than the government which succeeded them. Their economic policy had established the general maximum, an order of control prices and create stability both for the workers and poor of the Revolution. They favored free trade and liberal economy, much like the Girondists, but their relationship to the people made them more willing to adapt interventionist economic policies. In England, the word was so popularized in George Canning's paper, The Anti-Jacobin, which criticized the English radicals of 18th and 19th century. I'll read just a bit further. The English who supported the French Revolution during its early stages or even throughout were early known as Jacobins. These included the young Samuel Taylor Coleridge, William Wordsworth, and others prior to their disillusionment with the outbreak of the Reign of Terror. Others such as William Hazlitt and Thomas Paine remained idealistic about the Revolution. Much detail on English Jacobinism can be found in E.P. Thompson's The Making of English Working Class. Welsh Jacobins include William Jones, a radical patriot who was a keen disciple of Voltaire. Rather than preaching revolution, Jones believed that an exodus from Wales was required and that a new Welsh colony should be founded in the United States. In the United States, early Federalist-leaning American newspapers during the French Revolution referred to the Democratic Republican Party as the Jacobin Party. The most notable examples are the Gazette of the United States, published in Philadelphia, and the Delaware and Eastern Shore Advertiser, published in Wilmington during the elections of 1798. In modern politics, the term Jacobin is often used to describe extremists of any party who demand ideologic purity. For instance, in the lead-up to the 1964 Republican National Convention, the press referred to supporters of the insurgent Arizona conservative Barry Goldwater as Cactus Jacobins, or Jacobins is probably a better pronunciation of it. In their effort to unseat the moderate East Coast branch of the party, see Rockefeller Republican. L. Brent Broswell, Jr. was written in Goldwater's seminal The Conscience of the Conservative in 1960 that throughout history true conservatism has been at war equally with autocrats and with Democratic Jacobins. In 2010, a progressive American publication, Jacobin, was founded. The term was employed in 2009 and 2010 in reference to the advent of the Tea Party movement. For example, Eve Fairbanks described right-wing opponents of moderate Republican Congressman Wayne Gilchrist as Jacobin conservatives and the New Republic. In the 27th of May 2010 issue of the New York Review of Books, Columbia professor Mark Lila analyzed 5 recent books dealing with American political party discontent in a review titled The Tea Party Jacobins. So it's getting deeper, isn't it? See, understand, George Washington was writing a letter to his minister confirming that the doctrines of the Illuminati and the principles of Jacobinism had spread, not through Freemasonry, but instead through Jefferson-linked Democrat-Republican societies who deeply opposed the Federalists. This is a different kind of revolution. Power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's what Lord Acton said. The American Revolution. Fortunate that it did become a history of absolute tyranny. But there was a lot of power struggles going on. Subterfuge, conspiracy, and plain old corruption in early America. Key leaders. Illuminati Manifesto of World Revolution by Marco della Chetti, technically a forward to conspirator of the French Revolution Nicolas Bonneville's 1792 book, L'Esprit des Religions, explains how the French secret society publisher La Cercle Social housed the key French members of the Bavarian Illuminati who carried out a different conspiracy via the French Revolution. Included among the key backers of the Illuminati conspiracy are, here we go. Here's the key backers of the Illuminati conspiracy. Rothschild family. They bankrolled Adam Weishaupt, who was the founder. Saxe-Gotha family. They protected Adam Weishaupt. Marquis de Lafayette. Remember, he was a general of the American Revolution. And he was a leader of the Garde Nationale in the French Revolution. The Illuminati. Luchetti's documents even showed how are declared to wipe out 2/3 of all France, getting rid of or eradicating some 16 million people from the 25 million that comprised France's population at the time. From page 337 of his Illuminati Manifesto of World Revolution, 2/3 of the citizens are villains, the enemies of liberty. They ought to be exterminated. Terror is the supreme law. It is the instrument to aid us. It is an object of veneration. Destruction must be constantly the order of the day. If the sword ceases to operate, if the executioners do not serve as fathers of their country, liberty is at risk. It wants to reign over a pile of cadavers, welfare are watered by the blood of its enemies. I'm reading right from a manifesto. So this circle social played a very crucial role in overthrowing all the existing power and taking that power. So many of the French Illuminists who had opposed Robespierre, and they were within the Jacobins, were arrested and executed under Robespierre's reign. One of these was Thomas Paine. He was closely connected occultically with Illuminatist extraordinaire Benjamin Franklin. Remember me mentioned newspaper a little early, right? Paine's pamphlet Common Sense, remember we read about this earlier, it was published in January of 1776. We read this earlier. This sparked revolution in the general population. His book argued for a declaration of independence from Britain and resistance at any price. And because of his extracurricular activity, he made some enemies. Pretty much the Montagnards. They arrested him, left him. They left him there to be executed by the guillotine. So during his imprisonment, he wrote a pamphlet, The Age of Reason, which touted an order based around the destruction of all established religions and the deification of reason. So we see during this time that Thomas Paine, he appealed to the Governor Morris. He was the ambassador of France. He also appealed to President Washington so that Washington would intervene and save his life. But no support was offered. And so Thomas Paine blamed both men as conspirators in aiding Robespierre to arrest him. See, this paranoia. Thomas Paine he attacked Washington. I mean, he really went after Washington according to history. He blasted him as a treacherous man unworthy of his fame as a military and political hero. He questioned his principles in a 1796 letter that referred to him in part as an impostor. Here's an excerpt. In all likelihood, George Washington refused to... This is an excerpt from the letter. In all likelihood, George Washington refused to intervene due to his knowledge of Paine's involvement. I'll read that excerpt in a bit. See, Paine's involvement with the Illuminati and his hand in the French Revolution embarrassed a lot of Americans. It embarrassed them that it supported him and reciprocated their aid in the American Revolution. But see, the French Revolution was something very dark and bloody. They were beheading people. So we see that Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson had become really involved and tied to these secret societies in France and Europe. Most time because of their extensive time there as ambassadors prior to the French Revolution. Jefferson was on record as supporting the expressed aims of Adam Weishaupt. He had a vision of the perfectibility of man. And I'm going to read this to you as I'm reading it. While he incorporated many esoteric thematics, connotating an illuminated status into his Monticello estate, which grew to include 33 rooms and bore various symbolic architectural elements. 33 rooms with various elements of architecture.